Okay, good afternoon. We are back and we are about to, we're doing some dialogue and we're just doing the first dialogue, and I'm just going to go ahead and figure out what the first lines of dialogue are. But basically all we're testing here is can we have a scene start and have a specific dialogue play depending on which mission we've chosen. So that's fairly straightforward. And we want the first, so basically, simple line, very simple, straightforward. All right, let's slay some orcs. I think that's basically what it's going to be. And then the soldier needs to say something just to kind of have that back and forth and say, Prince Randar, the goblins, they are here. Excellent. Okay, let's do like Randar says, soldier, report. Prince Randar. The orcs are here. Excellent. Let's slay some orcs. Soldier, report. Prince Randar, the orcs are here. Excellent. Let's slay some orcs. And then we'll let it run a bit. And then I guess the next line would come up. But let's just test this. So we're going to have character 1, character 2. And we're going to want to set up some animation. So let's kind of do that. So we're going to have a dialogue canvas. And then this is going to have animation. And we're going to have quite a few animations on this. So we've got assets, animations. Let's make a new folder called dialogue. And we'll call this animation, wow, 3 already. We'll call this animation, let's call it idle, and it's just the start one. Okay, no, well, first of all we want to be in dialogue, and idle, let's call it idle. Although I probably should have called it dialogue idle for clarity, but that's fine. So this is the base state of the dialogue, and that's fine. And then we create a new clip called dialogue or open. Okay. And so when the dialogue starts, so we would start with the fade switched off, or maybe even faded. And then we come in 4 frames, let's say. I don't know what it should be exactly, but let's start with 4 and we'll see how it feels. And then that goes up to why does that turn to 0.509? Just 0.5 is fine. Okay, never mind. And then these guys would start off screen. So let's put that back to 1.3K. And then that ends up at -625. And of course, this would be minus. And then the actual panel itself would start off screen. Let's say at a -500, and then comes into 10. And then character 2, and I like this thing that they're kind of popping off the side. And then what was this one? 1300 to 625. And that's what it looks like when it starts. And this is not a looping animation. And I think, just quite simply, just so we don't have to ever call this animation. No, what is this? Machine straight. There we go. And so we go from open dialogue to idle, just without any conditions. And so open dialogue is not looped. idle shouldn't really be looped, because, you know, I mean, I don't think we're going to have like a head bob thing, like there's any animation for the idle, so it's not looping, it's not doing anything at all. That's fine. And then we have open dialog. So when we start, it pops in, and hopefully, I think that happens when we set the object to true, otherwise we'll just call the animation. And then we'll have something like, so yeah, that comes in. And then we'll do another one called exit. So close dialog. And again, I think we'll just call this one by name, so we're not going to get into any complicated shenanigans there. And so close dialog is just the same, but in reverse. So that's nice and simple. Okay, I'm going to call this programming, because people like programming, don't they? Programming dialogue scenes. And there we have that. Nice and simple. And we would have one like, and I'm going to want to, like, I don't know if I'm going to want to like have the characters actually like have their mouths move, but we would have something to make it clear which one is speaking. So we might actually want, so yeah, let's figure this out. So yeah, this would be in closed dialogue, and if the character is not speaking, we can like fade it a bit. No, we can, so put that at like 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and make it a little bit smaller, let's say 6. Let's say 7. And then that would also go, and so we're not going to have idle, we're going to have like character 1 is speaking and character 2 is speaking. So let's do that. So yeah, this one would go, and let's have them both off. I wonder if each character should have their own animator. I don't think that's necessary. Let's not do it like that. We could just have different animations on the same object that's like this character speaking, that character speaking. And so this one would also be and faded. So that's our basic setup. So let's copy that over to open dialog. And then we would have one which is not idle, but let's just create a new one called character 1 speaking. And if character 1 is speaking, then character 2 should be at 7, and faded. It's a bit annoying to have to do this again, but oh, and I'm not recording, so record. Make that up, put that at 7. 5. And if character 1 is speaking, then character 1 image should just look like that. So that's character 1 speaking. And then we do another one which is character 2 speaking. So this is really basic stuff. Oh wait, no, so if they're off by default, so actually I should make that the case. So if they're off by default, this would be, let's just make that the default. For both of them, probably should have just grabbed both of them. Okay, but character 1 speaking. Okay, so that's off by default, and then record character 1 would go back to 8. And his color would be on. And then character 2 speaking would be, and I think hopefully we only need to modify character 2. So record, turn that on. There we go. So we have character 1 speaking. Character 1 speaking. Character 2 speaking. Close dialogue. They go away. Start dialogue. They appear. Simple, simple, simple. Very basic stuff. Okay. And then we will make a state. This feels like it should be next to it. We'll make like a state. So we need to. Wait, what have I done? No, don't go away. What happened? How do I get that back? No. How did what? No. How do I? Oh, there it is. Okay, it's just that little guy. All right, good to know. Right, so then we'll go. I guess we'll just have an int called state, and we'll just have them like so. State 0 would be like off, because we're going to want to use states rather than just playing animations, because there needs to be a transition. So open dialogue. So idle is actually neither character speaking, which is never really going to happen. But if we just go idle just so we have somewhere to be, like this is the state where everything's going to come from. So I'll just put that there, and I'll put these like side by side here, and then we'll go like state. I might add to this list. There we go. State equals 1. And there's a transition there which we can preview. No, we can't preview. But I'm confident that'll work. We just want like a nice transition to those. This shouldn't loop. This shouldn't loop. This would be state is 2. And then it needs to come back. Can I grab both of these at the same time and just go state equals 0? So if nothing's happening, go back to basic. And we'll see how that works. We might need to fiddle with that a bit. And then basically and then close dialogue will just be something that I press play on. But then I suppose close dialogue would want to, like, once closed dialogue has happened, we would just want to like return, I think. So like exit, I think would like reset it. And this would be, there's no conditions. It just does that. It finishes this animation and then goes, but there's no destination state. So can I not just, so what if it was a transition to idle? No, I don't know. Let's just see how this plays out. Because it might just be a question of like resetting the state or setting it to 0, and then it will just come in at idle. But closed dialogue, I'll just play it because it just plays and then closes. So is there anything else I'm missing? Like we'll have other ones for like bespoke scenes, like oh some other character comes in, or there's an explosion in the middle or something, or I don't know, like other random shit that can happen. Characters start crying or something, I don't know. But that should do it. And then and it's always going to be like a wait until and I also wanted the thing to type it, And I had that in Interrogation Simulator. So I'm actually going to open that and try and find that code. I'll go away. It was a 9 until you asked, and now it's a 1. Actually, I did have it in Grapple Apple as well, so let's just use that one. Where basically we just have the text write character by character rather than it just appearing, and also having a way to skip it. In fact, I know that this works with Interrogation Simulator, so maybe it's better to get it from there. So we go to my hard drive, past all my porn, and then and all my weird shit. Interrogation Simulator. Yeah, Interrogation Simulator. Okay, ignore. And I'm just going to copy my dialogue system that I made in a previous game, where it. And yeah, we're not going to do the Grapple Apple one. It's just basically I've already made a code that writes the thing line by line and advances if you click, like it just rushes it finished. So we're going to want to open Interrogation Simulator and just find the bit where we do the dialogue. I can't remember anything about the structure of this bit. Oh, let's test this in 21:9. Yep, that's exactly how I'm going to want it to work. It's just wider, you've just got more empty space. Good. Probably going to want to do that for the title canvas as well. It took me a while to figure out the exact settings to make that work how I want it to. Okay. Yeah, so we'll open Interrogation Simulator and just copy that code that I have there. I probably don't need to actually open the Unity project, but it's just easier to navigate from there, I find. And it's just a simple matter of like, we're going to want to create like a script which runs the text. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find the code. It's a bit fiddly. I don't want to have to bloody refigure out how to do that. So yeah, and this will be another thing off the list. Like I'm like, this is one of the more fun things to do, I find. Riveting dialogue here. I just want to keep it simple. I don't want to start bogging people down with a long dialogue scene. And I think some people will actually appreciate how short this is. What's going to happen is Randall's fighting the orcs. He's going to find himself overwhelmed with enemies, and then Beanie's going to appear with some archers, with some rangers, and help him out. So that should be fun. And we're going to have to do all sorts of things, like there's some big ones to do with balancing. It's like in this mission at the beginning of the game, you're just going to have access to soldiers, and that's it, just soldiers. Which is going to be a bit boring at first, but it's not going to last long, and then you get your rangers, and then you get other units, but for now we'll just have soldiers. It's Sean and his soldiers go out and... Wait, don't I have... did I not draw... He should have, like, outline on his eyes. And eye outline. You should have a little shadow there, just to... It kind of gives it... The gaze... Makes the gaze a bit more intense. Okay, so here we are, Interrogation Simulator. And I guess I just want to click on any bit of code. Where do we keep it all? Let's just go. And then how am I going to find the bit? So this is very so dialogue. Click a page. Bear with me. I'm just finding question.string. Got a, I'm going to apply for a job at Cloud Imperium to be a systems designer, and they want me to do a little design test first. First, got to work on this. All right. So, okay, so that's the question buttons. Update script. Okay, which bit is this? So suspects is the one where I've just rammed everything. So go insert question. No, insert question. No. Reply. I'll find it. Okay, speak. Okay. I think this is it. So I'll just copy this and then delete as appropriate. So if we went into Army of Survivors and we go public, and I think we need system using system.collections. Public, i.e. numerator, speak, I guess. And we will have string line, I guess. Let's just so dialog text. So the text equals nothing. So let's start with that. We'll just kind of copy this. Text equals nothing. C. String C. So, okay, so we go for each character in reply. Okay, yeah, that works. So, for each character. Oh no, this is going to be messed up, isn't it? Because, okay, char, that's good to know. It's char. For each character in line. Okay, yeah. HUD.C.dialog. So no, text plus equals character. Okay, yeah, and what this should do is write it out piece by piece. Ah, 7 concurrent viewers, lovely. Thank you for joining. Plus equals. Okay, let's call this C. It's not going to translate well. So for each character C, text. Oh, it's going to be text.text plus equals C. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. So we reset the text. And then we go, I don't know what this is about. Why do we store this? Okay. And this is about animating the mouth. And this is about like making the mouth move open and shut. And what this does is it's like every third like character make the mouth go open and shut. I think it's something like that. Instructor wink, that was like a bespoke thing. This is just, and then we're also saying like if it's a brackets thing, don't show it because that's like extra information that the character's not saying. Oh, is it just that? So then it's just yield return new, wait 4 seconds, and then it's like 0.05. Okay, and then we have weight multiplier. Right. So we're gonna store a number here, which is like, what do we call this? This is the time between each character appearing. Let's call it caret interval. Doesn't really matter. And we're going to store this here. Float caret interval. Right? The reason we have that is because that's going to be shorter if the player decides to click and skip the dialogue, basically. So now we can go into, what do we call it? Weight multiplier. Okay, so if I go into interrogation simulator script and look for weight multiplier, and it seems to have appeared over here as well. Weight multiplier equals 1. So and where's it? Where's the next appearance? Weight multiplier. Okay, so weight multiplier, and I think what I've done is I've said if you've clicked, then the weight multiplier becomes like basically tells it not to. Why is that not? How is that not appearing? There we go. What was the problem there? Was it case sensitive or something? Okay. Skip speaking. Okay, so that's if input.get mouse button down 1. So we would want, and then weight multiplier becomes 0. And we don't need to do something by a number. We can just make that number 0. Go away. I've already got Chrome open. What are you talking about? Right, so caret interval. So when we start speaking, caret interval should reset to 0.05 or whatever we want it to be. But then if we've clicked somewhere, and we're going to need, like, we have read an input, so like void update if and then we're going to want something like, so we're going to have a bool called speaking, and when we start speaking we set this to true, and if we stop speaking we set this to false, and if, and then we're going to have a void, the function called like skip or progress. It really annoyed me. I played a game, I think it was the Paw Patrol game that my kid had, and in order to advance the dialogue you press skip, but that's wrong. You're not skipping it, you're just advancing it. Anyway, advance, let's just call it advance, make it public, I guess. Public void advance, and then we say if speaking else. I'm using a desktop, not a laptop. Hi Kosutaro, thanks for joining. Yeah, so if speaking, then I used to use a laptop. There's an old picture of me, I was talking about this earlier. Back in the day I had a laptop. It was like a tiny little like MacBook. I know MacBook sounds fancy, but it was very, very old. And I had to sit it on top of like a couple ice packs to actually like work, especially in like Madrid hot summers. It's fun. But yeah, desktops are nicer, I think. But it doesn't make much difference. It's also, this computer is probably about, like, it's not a very powerful computer basically. If speaking, then no, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, so like laptop is good for working on the go. That's the only thing it's good for. It's just a matter of is it portable or not. But obviously a desktop allows you to have like more space. You don't have to have the keyboard. You know, I mean, obviously you can have a laptop with a keyboard connected, but you're going to want a keyboard, more space for your mouse. Like, you don't want to be using a trackpad. Obviously you can plug a mouse into a laptop, but then I think it's easier just to have a desktop. One thing I will recommend tangentially is you don't need a powerful computer to make games. It's actually better if you can use a low-end computer, because then you can, I don't know, I think it just gives you good restrictions. Especially as an indie dev. You're not going to be making like high-fidelity graphic games. Just make a game that will run on your computer. And you'll find that the kind of person who's like, yeah, I don't know, I think there's something to be said for, like when I see a high-end game, because I don't have a high-end computer, when I see a high-end game, I say, great, that looks fun. But I don't want to play that on low settings. I want to play that on max settings. So I'm going to wait until I do get a high-end computer. I had one for work. It was an absolute... When I worked at Jagex, they gave me an absolute monster of a PC that would run Total War at full settings, full resolution, with a YouTube video and with a couple YouTube videos in the background. Like, it was insanely good computer, buttery smooth. And I played a lot of high-end games on that, but yeah. Anyway, tangents. Speaking. So if speaking is true, then all we do is we say char interval equals 0 so that the text just all appears at once. And if speaking is false, otherwise, like advance. Thank you, that's very kind. Otherwise advance, and what does that mean? Like, go to the next bit of dialogue. I guess. And we're going to be waiting for advance to happen. But how do I read that from outside? So like we're doing a coroutine and we're saying wait until something was pressed. Can I do that? Can I do like a Unity C# wait until a function is called in an IE numerator? Wait until a function is called. Wait for event timeout. It's too complicated. Come on, Gemini. Gemini didn't have me covered this time. So I can do wait until. Oh, what? No, you were something. It said something went wrong while displaying this page, but it displayed it and then it said that. Wait until. Because I'm just like, I know how I could do this. I could just say like, wait until this bool is true. So we just go like, wait, bool advance. So this would be public bool advanced equals false. And then we just go like advanced equals true. And then, hey, Jack, thanks for coming back. Look how many people we have in the stream. We've got 10 people. It's insane. Current state of computer science. That's a good question. Thank you for that. I mean, I didn't study computer science, so I'm not very good with that. I'm just like a solo dev. So I don't really know. I know that there's this whole problem with like people worried about their jobs being taken by AI and stuff like that. And I keep an eye on that. I've got a friend who's like a real programmer, like a real computer science guy. He works for BT. I think I can say that. Yeah, I'm not doxing him or anything. He works at BT. He's a very good programmer. And he so there's this interesting thing happening where when AI was starting out, like a lot of programmers knew that it had its limitations and not to rely on it too much. But CEOs and whatnot would see the parlor trick of, wow, this AI has just achieved the thing that I wanted it to do, and then have said, let's invest as much as possible in AI, and replaced all their programmers with AI, and like kept a few, and like told them to use as many tokens as possible, and like even interviewing employees and saying, how much AI have you used this week? Because if you haven't used enough, then you're not doing your job properly. And sorry, there's some shouting going on. I think my boy is attacking his younger brother, but my wife's on the case. Yeah, so if and basically that has now, like, the managers and the people in charge of those decisions are now finally realizing the limitations of AI. So they've actually started hiring people back, and they found that like the cost of like a junior or mid-level developer versus the AI subscription and tokens is not that big a difference. Like, probably the tokens are still cheaper, but compare that with the fact that if the junior or mid-level developer understands the code and is someone who is rising within your ranks, and you're developing and fostering like a talent within your company, who is like loyal to you, perhaps. It's actually like the cost benefit of AI. It's like, actually it's better just to have junior and mid-level programmers. That may change, but yeah, at the moment I think that the scare is kind of going down. Like, it's not going to be so bad. And I've got another bit of waffle about that. Is that basically AI is like someone who's learnt a language and they're 92% proficient in it, which is really impressive. To get a machine to be like 92% as effective as like an intelligent person. But it's that last 8% that is crucial. My wife is 99% proficient. She's from Venezuela. She's 99% proficient at English. But it's that 1% that lets anyone know that she's not a native speaker, right? Nothing wrong with not being a native speaker, obviously. I'm not, I lived in Spain and my Spanish wasn't that great. But the point is, that last 1% is really difficult to get. It's like the uncanny, like, you could draw a human that is 99% accurate, and AI images are like 95% accurate. Like, that looks 95% like a human, but it's that last 5%. And you think, well, we got to 95 in this time, so surely it's just a few more years to get that last 5%. No, I think it takes longer than that. I think it's much harder than that last 5%. And if you've played any RPG, so the joke in RuneScape is that, what is half of 100? Does anyone know what half of 100 is in RuneScape? Half of 100 in RuneScape is 92. That's why I chose the number 92. Because when you get to 92 level experience, you think, oh, I've only got 8 levels left. No, you're only halfway. You're only halfway to having a maxed out stat. So the current state of computer science is that I think that the AI scare is a bit overblown, and that people have definitely overblown its usefulness. It definitely has its uses, but yeah, that's the current state of things. So I think people are learning the value of an actual programmer. And then, of course, if we're talking about computer games, I say make your own games. Don't try and join this failing industry. Well, thank you so much for 13 concurrent viewers. That's got to be a record for me, I think. Right. So where was I? So here we're just going to get the input. So if input dot, and if you're learning to program, you're going to want to use the new input system. I'm using like a deprecated input system. Yeah. Well, so this project, I've said this a few times. I started this project as an experiment to see how vibe coding would go, because I'd heard about vibe coding and stuff, and just, not 100% vibe coding, but just like a bit of a mix. And I started this project vibe coding, and it did so many things in a way that was different to the way I did it, and in some ways more efficient. And I was thinking, this is going to be a good way for me to learn best practices, because I'm self-taught. So I don't know how a real game is programmed. I just make my indie games as I know how to make them. And at first it was really cool and it was really impressive, but eventually like the AI hit its limits, and I probably could have taken it a bit further with like a subscription, paid some money for some tokens. Obviously that's out of my budget, but instead basically I had to say, no, I can't let the AI do this anymore. I've got to make my own choices. I've got to write my own code. The time it takes for me to explain to the AI what I want it to do, I could just code it. And what it's ended up, so this is like hybrid. Like it started off as a vibe coding project, and I was so impressed at first. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I loved the fact that I could just keep my head focused on design. So I would give the AI a prompt and then sit there and do some pure design thought, which was a real luxury. It was really nice. It was like having a programmer working for me. But in the end, and I don't regret doing that as a learning experiment, but I can objectively say that it has slowed me down more than it helped me. That's just me. Maybe it's a skill issue, but yeah, I've got a lot of opinions about that. I mean, I'm not like ideological either way about AI. So yeah, if we're gonna go spacebar or click, if get key down, and then do we just go space? I haven't done this for so long. I think that works. If input.get key down space, then advance. And if input.get mouse button down, and then what do I do? 0? That's left click, then advance. And if anyone wants more buttons to be mapped to that, it'd be, I guess it'd be like get any key. But space and mouse button down work fine for now. Okay. Then advance, which if we're speaking, then it will make us speak like instantly. It will instantly fill out the text. And if we're not speaking, like if we finish speaking, then advance to the next bit of dialogue. And then in GM or wherever it is that we have it, and so we're going to want to make a reference to, and I'll just put it nice and neat and tidy, being sarcastic, at the bottom here. I'll just call it public dialogue canvas. Probably should just be called dialogue. And then back down, and we'll say dialogue canvas dot, and then yeah, we're going to want to have an animator here. Well, let's just, before I forget, so how would we do this? Yield return new until, and then you draw a willy with sideways balls, and you say dialog canvas dot advanced is equal to true, and if I just write it, that means is equal to true. And then immediately after that, I say dialog canvas dot advanced equals false, and I'm going to have to write this every time we like have a new bit of dialogue, basically. So we would say dialog dot text. Where are you going? Text. No, I don't do it like that. I say dialog canvas public string line dialog canvas dot line equals, and then what do we call this? Speak, yeah. Dialog canvas dot line equals, and what's the first line? Soldier report. Let's do the name. No, let's not bother with the name. Soldier report. I don't know how military people speak, but so the line is that, and then we say dialog canvas dot, and we probably just want to have this all within dialog canvas actually. Anyway, dialog canvas dot speak, and then what it will do is it will do its line. And that text is going to be like copied and pasted for the different things. Is that right? So line let's have it default to just, and then we go dialog canvas dot line. Yeah. So, and then we also need to say who is speaking, and then we'll set up. So open the dialog screen. And then hopefully that will just automatically, because of the way I've set up the animation, we'll just go entry and then it will run open dialog and then automatically go to line to idle. Didn't need it to compile, but why not? And then dialog canvas speak, and then so we need to say who is speaking. But when we set it up, so like set up characters, dialog canvas dot image, character image 1, character 1 image equals dot sprite equals I guess we go characters dot get character randar. I know that's not ideal, but I won't repeat why it's not ideal again because I've said it enough times. Get character randar dot sprite, and then the second one would be soldier. Set up characters, run. We got just call this line. And I don't think we would actually want to wait any seconds for this, but let's just leave that like that for now, and we can modify that. Just want to test that it all works. And then dialog and then so that's that. We set the character, but then we need to make sure we're switching characters. So like switch character. I know that these aren't all going to be commented out at each time. Let's make character. So we go dialog, and the other thing is I wanted to store the animator. We go animator dot set dialog canvas dot animator dot set integer, and then we call it state 0, and I'm actually gonna make a little use like set character. Well, anyway, that would be that. So it'd be animator dot set integer 1, and then this would go. Yeah. And then dialog canvas dot yeah, so that's that. We switch character, we speak, so then he'll say soldier report, and and then we like switch character again to character 2. I think this should actually be switch character. So yeah, switch character, and then int. What do we call it? Int I, let's say, and then we just go I. Yeah. Yeah. One, and then we go 2, and we go, and it's probably best to keep these comments actually, just because it helps, makes it easier to read, I think. And then so the soldier says, Prince Randar, the orcs are here. Wow, riveting stuff. And then we do the next one. Switch back to character 1. We could just go switch character and it will switch to the other one. Might be easier, but it's not much difference. Prince Randar, the orcs are here. And then he says, excellent, let's slay some orcs. And yeah, sadly this is going to be the same each time. I wish I could like bundle that up somehow, but I don't know how to do that. So that's fine. We go, so it's 4 lines. It's 4 lines of code per line of text, 1 per line change of character. So we have to call, we give it the line, we call speak. Let's do what we can to make that simpler. So if we say speak and then we have string line, no, string line, and then we go line equals line. I know. But then this way, we can just do it like this. And then it's 3 lines instead of 4. And there might be a better way of doing this, but this is the way that I know, and I can't think of a better one now. Because we have to do the wait until, we have to tell it what to say, and then this one is just an unfortunate circumstance of like, I don't know how to do this in a better way. So if anyone knows, please tell me. So that'll be our thing for now. If we want to change that, we're going to have to change it to a lot of bits, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay. All right, and then now that it's finished, close the dialog screen. Should that be capitalized? I think it should. Close. Let's just say close dialog, open dialog. Close capital D dialog. And then we call the animation, so we say dialog canvas dot animator dot play dot play close. What did I call it? Close dialog. Good. And then we could do one where you wait for the animation to change, but if I just say yield return new, wait 4 seconds, 0.1, 0.05f. Let's just see how that works. I'm thinking, well, what is 4 frames? I don't know. So wait. So close the dialog. Wait for seconds, and then dialog canvas dot game object dot set active false. That should work. So if we're doing mission 1, we're going to launch that. So when do we do mission 1? And so yeah, after we've loaded everything, we start that we start the coroutine that goes on the mission. And this is just going to be some big if statement pile. So it would be the same if it's mission 2, then start mission 2. Except we don't have a mission 2 yet, do we? No, we don't. I'll just leave that there as a stub so it's obvious. Okay. And so this is, we're going to end up with lots of this, but this is how we write our dialogue. Let's give it a whirl. So the first thing we're going to have to do is set up the dialogue canvas. And yeah, in theory, this dialogue canvas could happen anywhere. So we're going to want to make this like a don't destroy on load. How do I do that? Stuff. Where's it go? Don't destroy. Where do I put don't destroy on load? Huh. Where do I put that? Don't destroy and load. So that ends up on upgrades. No, that should be on stuff. Where does that go? So you just tell it at the beginning. Let's put it on awake. It's like the first thing. So don't destroy and load, and we're going to want that on this as well, because this could happen anywhere. Don't destroy this on load. Keep it all, because you never know when we're going to need it. Right. I mean, I doubt I would need it in the title screen, but it could come up in the character. Like, it probably won't come up in the character select, but it's going to come up in the main game, and it could come up in the base. So we could just copy and paste it in both places. That might actually be the thing to do, just to keep it a bit more simple. Because we don't need it everywhere, but then it's very light. It's not exactly like... Anyway, so character 1 image, character 2 image, text, animator, line should be private, and what was the other one? Line in advanced. And wait, what did I just do there? Public static void advanced equals false. Okay. Okay, so if we settle, I just don't want to see. Oh, why did the screen just go off for a second? Why did the screen just go off for a second? Is my graphics card like melting? What is that? What is that? Okay. Is my computer melting? Yeah, you can go away. Right. Okay. And then finally we need to make sure this is linked to that, except no, we're not going to want this reference. We want to do the thing, and I don't know if there's a better way to do this, but it just makes it like accessible from any script. Public dialog canvas C. This is how I do it. There's probably a better way, but this is how I do it. C equals get component dialog. If I just go get component, no, I have to say get component dialog panel, dialog canvas. I wonder if I just said get component, it would get this component. Oh no, could I just say C equals this? Can I do that? Does that work? Because I've always been... I'm going to try it like this and see if that's where it breaks. Good time to try things. Okay. And then so here, we just need to go dialog canvas dot should be dialog canvas dot c dot. We go boom, 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 boom. And this, obviously it's better to do this before we like fully do it. This needs to be static. Except for these points, because this is a static one, we just go okay. Now, if this just works out of the box, I'm going to be really happy. Let's close this. I mean, we might need it for the voice again, but I can just go grab it again. Actually, the voice. Oh, I'm streaming, by the way.
Sorry.
That's okay. Hello. just letting you know.
I know.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, the only naked one is the baby.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, naked puppy.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this in as a stub. And I'll just even keep this as well. So that would go in dialog canvas, and it would go for each character. It's like every third character. Can I not? Okay, that's why I had that. Because it couldn't read a character. Which is interesting. Does that work? How did I do it in interrogation? So string C equals C plus. Oh, okay. That's fascinating. Yeah, let's just do it like that then. Equals and S plus equals C. Is that how I do it? S plus equals C. Yeah, except I've done it completely differently there. But yeah, the S is a string that has the character. That is so roundabout. I'm not a fan of that, but it will work. And then we're just saying if it's a question mark or something, like don't do the thing. But we're not doing mouth movement. We're not doing... But we are going to do sounds. Int I equals 0. And then every third one, if char interval is equal to 0, no, it's not equal to 0. So unless we've like skipped, then play voice sounds. Seem to have the YouTube's frozen, so I don't know if like people are chatting or something, but I've like frozen there. So forgive me if I've missed a couple messages. I'm gonna fix that now. I think my computer might have like briefly shat the bed for a second. basics, but that's fine. All right. Can I refresh now? Okay, sadly I can't see chat. It's just chat
Sorry,
the bed.
Ian.
That's okay. I don't mind if you don't. Yeah, this isn't the best way to do it, but that's how I did it before, so I'll just leave it like that. That's going to work. Okay, so now moment of truth. If this works out the box... Is there a problem with OBS or something? Because it's like, so on OBS, like chat has disappeared. I can't see if chat is working. I can't see how many people have viewed. Oh, there it goes. It's back now. All right, so that's somewhat fixed. All right, yeah, that's more realistic. Okay. Sorry about the little brief detour there with the streaming. Right. So I think we can close this because we have copied over everything we'll need. If I need the mouth movement stuff back, then I'll get it. But I don't think we're going to that level of detail with this game. You don't need to see the mouth moving. It would be nice to have a voice though, but we'll see. So I've got that in as a stub. And so we don't need to reference the dialog panel from there. Dialog panel references itself. Dialog canvas. Except, here's a problem. Here's a problem. Is that because it's switched off. So should it ever be switched off? Because it could just, doesn't need to switch off. I don't think it does. If we just have the animation. No, I think we should switch it off. Switch it on and off. Okay. But if that is on by default, so what I need to do is I still need to have a reference. So we need to do like... yeah, I'm kind of going roundabout, but you know, that's still learning as I go. So in a roundabout way, we go public, game object, dialog, panel, obj. And since that's not going to exist in the scene yet, the way to do it would be to say dialog panel, obj equals game object dot find, no, capital G game object dot find dialog canvas, and let's call this and then that's the object that we set active. There might have been a better way to do this, but this is fine. There was almost definitely a better way to do this, but this will work. Like that. And then so this can be switched off by default. And if this object has never come on, it won't destroy on load. So no, I'm going to do it differently. So we're not going to do the don't destroy on load thing. Like if it's not switched on, it will not get the memo to not destroy on load. Right? That just won't be seen. It won't happen. So we are going to want to make this a prefab, and just because I'm thinking, oh, it's going to appear in multiple scenes. No, it's only going to appear in 2 scenes. So we will make that a prefab, and we'll put it in our very neat and tidy. Actually, let's put it in UI. Let's be somewhat. Okay, so the dialog canvas doesn't exist here. It does exist in. Oh, and we can do this. game object. No, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. So we have, bear with me. I mean, we could have made that work. I'm just trying to do it like in a more proper way. So we go scenes, main game, and this has the dialogue panel, dialogue canvas, and that can just sit there. I don't know where it should be exactly. Let's put it below options canvas. And as you can see, it seems to have like escaped. Oh, no, I think it's just the bars in front of it. So we would want this in front of HUD. Why is that XP bar? Okay, sort order of that is 1, so this should be 2. This should come over any HUD. Okay, good. Getting there slowly but surely. Dealing with the bugs before they happen, I think. So then there's dialogue canvas, that can be off by default, and it will not reference itself. It will be called by the scenes that need it. So we will have, so forgive all of this. Because once this is set, it's basically set. Like, we can't really change much about it. Okay, so then we have dialogue canvas equals dialogue canvas. No, dialogue canvas. We set that up in the editor. And we need to do a find and replace here. And that's that. And yeah, we're just going to have to, like, every time we have this in a scene, we're just going to manually have to, like, set it. So then the GM has access to, so this isn't a don't destroy on load vibe. This is have a prefab that's in multiple scenes. And if you change it, if you change the prefab, it will update for all scenes. That's how that works. Okay, and that is lined up there. Not that one, this one. And we'll also have to do the same for the like building the base manager, because that's the other place where dialogues will happen, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay. This is the wrong scene to play. So you can see, like, so for the chest, I didn't do that properly. And so the way the chest works is it's an object that switches itself off as soon as the scene starts. Meaning if I'm looking through the scene view, or if it's just on, and I should change that, but I haven't got around to it. So that's why I'm trying to do things more properly now. I'm realizing now now that I'm not rusty anymore, I'm realizing that the 2 years that I spent working at Jagex, not doing any code, really rusted my blades a bit. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself. And also, yeah, like I said, I was kind of vibe coding this at the beginning to sort of see if there was some better. And on some things, yeah, it did teach me a few things to do differently. But it also made me do things wrong. Okay, so we go like that. And if I've done everything correctly, it will just fucking work. Which would be lovely. That would be really nice. So we start a scene. So this is just placeholders. This would be the human town. This would be like a little mission icon. And this would be like an actual map that I've drawn. So we do the first mission. And let's see if it all just... That would be an achievement if so. Okay. It's a start. So it hasn't updated the text at all. And this guy's flashing. So no, we're not quite there. So let's go. Dialogue canvas. So the first thing is that this... Oh, that's not looped? Okay. So it looked like that was a mistake. It looked like it was looping. But I think I know what happened. I think I grabbed both of these and tried to, yeah, see so it has no conditions. So it's always just going to go back. So it should only go back if state is 0. State is 0, and this comes up at 1 and 1. And also these two should link up. I don't know if there's a better way to do this. I think you can do like any state, but let's just... So again, this is equals 1, and this is equals 2. Yeah, okay. And why did the text not update? So we'll go debug.log line. And why would we even need this? Could we not just do this? I'm gonna just try. I have a feeling that it might be needed, but I don't know. So we can just Control Z that a bunch of times if it doesn't work. Yeah, we don't need that. Why would we need to access that line again? I don't think we would. So let's figure out what's going on there. Because it looked like it just didn't bother to update. So let's investigate. Well, sadly, we didn't get the magic of it just working first time out of the box, which is sad, but also to be expected. I think I have an idea of what's happening here. Dialog canvas dot start coroutine speak, and then it has to be dialog canvas dot speak. Is that really the best way? Because that's going to be annoying. That just seems a bit wordy, doesn't it? We could do like a... what do we call this? Speak routine. And then this could be private. And then here we just go dialog canvas dot speak the line, which is a bit easier, isn't it? Soldier report, the orcs, Prince Randall, the orcs are here. Prince Randall, the enemy is upon us. Oh, we are upon them. that should work. And so yeah, we weren't actually calling a coroutine. But the other worry that I have is let's make it happen at 3 seconds, just so we've got a bit of a time to like let the scene start. Oh, and we can say paused equals false. And the other thing we're going to have to deal with is like when, like, let's say I press escape or like click on something else or start trying to use the controls while the dialogue is open. Are people chatting and I'm not seeing it? So if well, I don't know how you could let me know if the chat isn't working. I guess I could do line from my watching account, although best not. That's fine. Okay, let's try now. One, two, three. Okay, well, it hasn't paused the game. And the transition there on the animation is too slow. Because it's like, it feels like it takes a while for it to switch to the other character. So, but we're getting somewhere, Okay, so we want to fix those animations. Because essentially we don't want it. What is going on? There we go. Okay, so it's the animator. So between here and there, between these two, like, we want to get there immediately. No, so I think we just want has exit time. I think for all of these. And can I grab no, I can't grab a few, and so I have to do each one individually. Can I grab more than one? Has exit time, did that do it to both? No, it did it to the last one I selected. What a shame. So yeah, these shouldn't have exit time. These should not have exit time. Okay, and the game should absolutely be paused. Why is it not paused? Paused equals true should only happen when the actual thing starts. So paused. No, not for speak. It should just be for like the run dialogue or whatever. So we wait until then, and then we do all of that. Okay. And then we're gonna have to set some like things like, oh, don't escape to open pause menu until don't escape to open pause menu until unless if the dialog panel is open, which ends up being like this whole thing of like you end up having a whole bunch of well, what is this? I have never seen that before in my life. That's terrifying. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Unity. Out of memory. So my computer's out of memory. Okay. Do I have any unnecessary shit open? Is my computer out of memory really because... Oh, I have an idea. Am I out of space? Is it, I think it's this. Oh dear. I think it's this. My sister-in-law asked me to download this for my boy. And I don't know why I didn't already put it on my hard drive, so I can take it off here. It's just like some fun. So I'm just going to put it, movies. There's nothing in there yet. Just put that in. That's 11 gigabytes. Okay, I'm going to take a quick smoke break while that does. And then, because that's like 11 gigabytes. I think my computer is just literally full. I think that's what it is. It was saying memory, not RAM. So I think there's errors happening in my code because I'm out of memory. I think that's what it is. Because I had to delete stuff to make space for this 10 gigabyte file. And this is going to be done before I get back. So now it's a good time to have a little break, have a little smoke. And then I'll come back and, yeah. Thank you so much for 8 concurrent viewers. That really makes my day. Yeah, basically what I'm doing here is I'm developing the entire game on stream, so I don't expect anyone to like watch all of that. But if you wanted to subscribe and just dip in and out, see how the game's doing, and then eventually the series will be finished because the game will be complete, and then I'll be starting on the next game, and I'll be starting the next game on stream as well from scratch. So hopefully it's a fun stream to just dip in and out of, and check it out and keep an eye on. So yeah, really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Got a new subscriber today, which made my day. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Okay, this is almost done, as you can see. So I'm gonna go for a smoke, and when I get back, it should be done. See you in a bit. That's done. So now I can delete this, and hopefully that was the issue, because it's a bit scary getting compile errors that I don't understand. And it might be worth like resetting Unity as well. Okay, well that no. Failed to create core. Okay, so I'm gonna reset Unity. No, not interrogation simulator. Damn it. Can I just tell you to stop? Will that break the file? Yeah, because I don't think that's a RAM issue, that's a memory issue. If it meant RAM, it would have said RAM, right? Beg your pardon. Okay, I think I can keep going even though that's trying to load. It'll be a bit slow. But it's not telling me no, so... Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3, and then the game pauses. Soldier, report. Prince Randall, the enemy is upon us. Excellent, let's slay some orcs. That worked. That worked. Okay. Let's just see that again. Look at me go. Basically first try. I'd say that's basically first try. So when the first time I coded that for Interrogation Simulator, that was like at least a day of me tearing my hair out and doing all these things. So yeah, we should pick our thing. I don't know why I opened the loading screen briefly after. Don't know what that was about. But yeah, that works. Let's have it with. And then we would have this little game. And so the other thing I need to think about is like, so during this mission, the first time you play it, you're not going to have access to a lot of things. So you'll only be able to upgrade your soldier and maybe your armor. Like I think I'll let some of the talents be free. Like you get armor, you get soldier, maybe rations. Oh, what's this? Really? That's odd. So we go into... That is odd. So what's happening there? Status effects dot find frost. Did I like change the name or something? So we'll take any random character. Let's just zoom in on. Turn gizmos off for a second. Let's just grab this character. And we go into status effects dot find frost. Huh? Oh, I know why that's happening. Okay, well, so I'm going to put a bandage on this. I'm going to take a paracetamol to deal with the symptoms without dealing with the root cause. So this is going to have to be... because, yeah, it's looking for that transform in here, and it's because I recently got rid of this as a script. So it would have been saying character sprite renderer .transform.find when actually we want... actually, do we still have... Character sprite renderer. Where do we set? It's because we set them all equals character dot sprite. No? In GM equals character dot sprite. So where do we actually? Okay, yeah. So we do it there. So transform dot find. Yeah. So this is awkward as all hell, and we're going to change the way this works. But for now, just to put a bandage on it. Now I'm tempted to change this. Okay. Should I put a bandage on this, or should I fix this and do it properly? Transform. So it would be. So the bandage would be transform dot find and it would be transform dot find character sprite renderer. Dot find. It's like, see, that is not good. That is not efficient. That is going to be costly. Like, it's not huge, but this isn't ideal, is it? What if we said, because we actually have priest, we actually have like this list. So frost renderer. No, so could we go character dot find? Yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to have to do it like that. And we're going to replace that with that would be like that, and I can do that to all, and it doesn't create any errors. Yeah, so that's obviously not ideal, but we are gonna I wanted to fix that anyway. This is just a bandage to fix the issue. To really fix the issue, I need to actually like make this much better. So like we would go transform.find. Oh wait, no, I did that wrong. Dot find. Yeah. Okay, so that's crap. That's horrible. Wait, why? Okay, it's because it did it for the first one. So I need to figure out a better way to do that, like in general, basically. Because yeah, that's awful code. Don't do it like that. I would need to like say, like you've got a buff and this buff has a status effect. Switch that on. But more likely, because we've got these set up now. I don't know. Why? How exactly would I use enums? Like, so the problem here is the whole code for buffs is terrible. It was fine at first when I just had a few, but then it kind of got out of hand. And then I wanted to say, like, if a buff has like a visual effect, then switch that on. But what we should do, like, so straight away, here we go. Here's a much easier way of doing it. So we go in a character container. We need to store public transform status effects transform. Okay, and then take all instances of this and replace it with status effects transform. And already this is a lot cleaner. And then if the buff always matches the name, frostbitten. I think this is old. This is deprecated. Yeah. So we can get rid of that one. Let's get rid of it. And the other horrible thing about this is that I have to kind of I do the same exact switch case at the other end for removing the buff. And then that matches that name, that matches that name, that matches that name. As long as the names match, I can just so I will. I don't know how I would use enums exactly. Like what I want to do is say, like, so that this one's going to be easy. If the names match, so, and we're going to have to, if the names match, so we go stats effects, totem, power, bloodlust, and then where's charmed, plagued, staff of command, banshee cry, whipped, Zokai, king's blessing. Okay, so the names always match. Let's go back up to here and say totem power, and then I can say switch on visual, and we say if status effects transform dot find buff dot name, no, buff dot stat name, is that where, how do we do it? So buff dot stat, yeah, buff dot stat is not equal to null. So if we did find it, switch it on. And then on the other end, yeah, yeah, I do need to change the way this works. Basically, like, there was a proper way to make it work, which is to say a buff has a list of stats. And then we just, instead of having this big switch, we just go for each stat in the buff, raise the corresponding stat on the character by that amount. And then we don't need this big old switch case. However, I couldn't make it so that the buff had a, like I couldn't make that work because of the way that the AI instructed me. I mean, the way I set up the character, because what I wanted to do was have characters. So if we go characters, well, let me just finish this before I forget. So we want to go to remove buff, switch off visual, and so we would go characters. So what I should do, well, let me explain what we've done first. So when we make a character, we say character list dot add new character, and then we construct the character here. We give it all its values. Whereas what we should do is have a public static character at the top called which, and then we would go which dot names equals that equals this, and so on, which dot max HP, which dot starting upgrades, and we just do that like that, and then at the end of it we go and the rest, and then at the end of it we go character list dot add character which, and we would do that for each character, right? And then, because what I want to do is say, I don't want to have max HP, I don't want to have all this, I want to say max HP would be a stat. So it wouldn't be a float, it would be public stat max HP, right? And then we set up the value for that. But the thing is, because of the way this has been set up, I can't modify a stat in here. Actually, yeah, let's go back. So yeah, if we go public, so we go characters, public, we would say, let's do it for this one, public stat damage, I'll just go damage M for multiplier equals, and then that would be like, and then we would set that to the default equals new stat, and then we would have a script which like links up, you know, sets the name, sets the value of that, sets it to a default, right? And then we could just go in here and go, and what I wanted to do was damage M dot value equals something different than it was, right? Something different than the default, just in case we wanted to change it. However, as you can see, I can't do that in this thing, but I could, if which was a character, I could say which dot damage M dot value equals 50. I could do that. The thing is, that would require me to go through this entire code and do that for the, like, I don't know, like 80 characters that we have. That would be better. And that would mean, and then, so the character would have a list of stats on them. And then the buff, okay, I can just get a buff. A buff would also would have a list. Oh, for God's sake, public list stats, new list stat. And then when we make a buff, we would give it a list of stats. And then what I would do is when we add a buff, we go for each stat in the buff, find the corresponding stat with the same name on the character and raise that. And that would be much neater and cleaner. However, at the moment, like, and that's just a very large undertaking. That wouldn't actually improve the game. It would improve readability of the code, but it wouldn't actually improve the game very much. So instead, we just have this massive, horrible switch case. And you can see I've even tried to kind of do like a second stage switch case where we... And so basically, yeah, I know. It would be nice to have it like that, and I should at some point. But at this point, it's not actually going to affect the game very much. But this, I'm confident this will work. find the transform that has the name of the buff and set it to true. Well, yeah, it's just like so. For an event when a buff happens and receive one. Yeah, I mean, so this is happening on the character. So we just say add buff. What is the buff? And then the buff would have a list of stats, and then we'd go for each stat in the buff.stats. Find the corresponding stat on the character and raise it or lower it. So we would turn all of this into yeah, exactly, like it doesn't matter. The reason I would do that is because moving forward it means that every time I make a buff I have to put it in here, I have to get the name of it and do all of the stuff and put it in the remove buff as well, which is just horrible. It's just horrible. But you know, it's not the end of the world, and it just makes my life more difficult. But it won't have a single iota of impact on the player. It would just make my life easier, you know, which isn't. But I found a way to at least get rid of this bit, and the ones with tick damage happen somewhere else. But instead, I just go check the name of the buff and then write the effect here. And to be honest, that does kind of have the same effect. It's just weighing up refactoring the code to make it a lot neater versus actually progressing with the game. And I decided to progress with the game. I could still come back and do this. The funny thing is, like, if I finish the game and then come back and do this to, like, tidy up, it's kind of pointless. Like, the only person who suffers from this bad code is me. And at the moment, it's not particularly slowing me down. Yeah, like if I started doing DLC and started adding a few more buffs. I have had a case, but this was my second game that I attempted, called Human Factory, where, again, like, so Blacksmith, my first game, was just coded horribly, like there's no way around it, and it was just coded horribly and it stayed horrible. But then I finished it and it was like, okay, well, nobody gets hurt. And then on my second game, I was like trying to actually do everything neat and tidy and perfect. And it was kind of like a game of Factorio where you spend forever redesigning your factory when if you had just not redesigned the factory, you'd have had the exact same result at the end. And basically, I think in my second game, I spent way too long refactoring things for like not much gain. So I, you know... yeah, so if a buff would not have a value itself. The buff.value wouldn't exist. A buff would be a list of stats. So it would be like a buff would be like banner, like the buff you get from banner, or like inspired, and it would be like it would have a stat which is max HP and it's 10 and damage multiplier like 0.1, 10%, and I don't know, like it would all, and evasion 0.1, give 0.01, it would have a 1% evasion chance, for example, and it would have those three stats on it, and then the add and remove buff would just interpret that. So I guess I can show it. For each stat in buff dot stats, which it doesn't have, if, and then we go, how do we find that on the character? We would probably have a more sophisticated getter, but we would go and then on the character, so it'd be character dot stats dot first or default, and I'm not going to bother with first or default. Was it I little willy I dot name is equal to buff is equal to stat dot name, something like that. So that is the stat. That is the stat that we're dealing with. Dot value plus equals stat dot value. Boom, done. So this whole switch case here could be reduced to 3 lines. It could just be that. In fact, I don't even think you need 3 lines. I think you could put this on 1 line, right? You could just have that there if you really wanted to. I'd keep it in 3 for readability, but it would just be that. For each stat in buff.stats, find me the corresponding stat of the character by name, and then increase the value by that amount, by the amount of the value. And then when we make a buff, it would be like buff inspired equals new buff, and that would probably be like stored somewhere, public static buff inspired equals new buff, and then we would go in the code buff inspired dot stats dot add. It would be a little bit complicated, but basically it wouldn't be too much. And then we just say inspired dot stats dot add new stat max damage X and I don't know 0.1 F, and then if we wanted to add more, we add more. Attack speed X, like that, and then if we add the inspired buff, it would do that. So I have lost a lot of time on this today because I've been explaining it, but I think it's an interesting exercise, isn't it? So that would require quite a lot of refactoring. The main one being going through all of these, because the thing is I can't add a stat to this. I can't modify stats here. So at first I would give it like a default set of stats. Oh, and also it would be a list. So it wouldn't be that it has, it would just be a bit funky. It would just be a bit funky. I could do it, but it would be a lot of work. It would be like a good day or two of boring refactoring versus every time I make a buff, I have to do this. I have to just write its stats on the actual place where it happens. So it's just less work this way. Let's get rid of this. So you get the idea. So more likely the player would have. Oh, there it is. I've already written it and commented it out because it didn't work. The player would have my stats, where we would then have a constructor which just says, okay, every character has these stats, has like the default set of stats, and then when we actually describe each character, we would just grab them by so the default damage would be 1, right? But let's say we wanted a character that just had higher damage. It's generally not the case. More like evasion, like ghosts have 50% evasion chance. We would just say like, oh yeah, ghost.evasion, like find me the evasion stat on the ghost and set that to 0.5. That's how we would do it. And then everything else stays at the default. And that would work. That would work, and it would be much neater and tidier. But again, it is actually easier for me every time I decide to make a new buff. So if I make a new buff, I just write it up here. And then if I wanted to see the buff in the encyclopedia, that's a different problem. But again, even then it might just be easier to kind of do a copy of this. I don't know. Like maybe one day I'm going to have to do it. But I would rather make progress with the game, mainly for my own sanity, but also, again, nobody suffers from this except for me. And you, the viewer, who has to have an aneurysm from looking at my bad code. Why isn't this? Just go away. Go away, we don't need you. Why is that not? Yeah, okay. So anyway, where was I? Dialogue system, we did that in record time. I could do a quick test to see if this has worked, but I'm pretty damn confident that it will work. I'm just worried that, like, if you do a transform.find and it doesn't find it, is that null? Because I want to, or does it just produce an error anyway because it's like a function? So if I do a transform.find and don't find anything, does that just make the game shit the bed, or can it just be null? So let's find out. So I'll just keep going until, like, there we go, mage. Shoot someone, mage. Oh, soldier report. Prince Randa, the enemy is upon us. Excellent. Let's slay some orcs. Wonderful. Okay, yeah, so that didn't work. Oh, that's just because that hasn't been assigned. So yeah, I hope I have answered that question. So the buff wouldn't have a value. The buff would have a list of stats which would each have a value. So we need to go to our character container and assign our list of status effects. Okay. Bicycle. Yep, worked. Good, lovely. So yeah, maybe I'm just coping and making excuses, but I think that basically, yeah, that's kind of the size of things. Okay, well this dialogue thing is easy and it works, and it works every time. And so we can now easily make dialogue happen. So we could say in mission 2, different dialogue happens, and I just need to kind of keep to this format. So I could hand this over to a junior dev, and they would be able to make any dialogue that I want. So yeah, like, Jack, if you did want to help, I could be like, oh, here's the script for this dialogue, put it on this scene. But again, I think the time it would take for me to, like, set up GitHub and everything so that we could work on the project, I think would just take too long. So open dialogue should have the paused equals true thing, and yeah. So we wait until 3 seconds. What if we waited until... Well, we don't want to wait till 0 seconds. Let's just wait till 3 seconds. So it happens, like, straight away. Or no, this should... this should just happen straight away. Let's see how that feels, and let's switch off start effect, because start effect wouldn't be there anyway. Well, let's see it with and without. Let's see it with and without. So with, it's going to be like both of them are going to be open. And it's going to look awkward. And I don't know why the loading screen pops on briefly there. It's kind of, yeah, why does the loading screen pop on briefly there? Yeah, right? Exactly. I don't want to just give you the boring stuff. That would be the work for like a very junior dev, though. And I don't think you're... I think you're probably... I wouldn't be surprised if you were like much more advanced at programming than me. Not that that's saying something. I'm not a super advanced programmer, but like, you know, that would be a bit awkward, wouldn't it? Okay, so loading screen. So why... Loading screen game object. So when does that come on? Load wave. Why is that happening? Okay, so loading screen. But that's just once at the beginning. Like, that's really dodgy, isn't it? Like, why does the loading screen come on briefly after the dialogue? Not game over screen. Load scene, character select. Load wave. This is a very minor thing, but I just want to know why that's happening. And given the time of day, I think the other thing I should do is just kind of stress test this and just see if I can escape from the menu, from the dialogue. So let's do a bit of both. And I also want to find out why the loading screen comes on very briefly before. And also I would like it if start effect. Like this should happen after start effect. Right? Okay, so options. So the thing about options is it can... Where do I selected. Where do we turn open? And then where do we actually... Is that player controller? No, input. Okay, key. Okay, yeah, that's cancel. Okay, so we want to say if gm.c.dialog canvas. No, so that's awkward. Because we want to be able to access the options menu even if the game is paused, even if paused. So let's write this down. So dialog system, test escaping from it, make dialog wait until starter fact is finished. And stop options from opening during. are we going to do that? Because options menu can exist in... Maybe we should just have a dialogue. I mean, it should be simple, but it's just that this can be in the title screen. So it's like... So if it's open, we want to actually stop. So like, luckily... Yeah, it stops any other buttons being pressed. So I think this is the only way you could like fudge your way to escape the loading screen, to escape the dialogue panel. We could do a really funky one. We could just have an in the update method close just keep closing the options menu every frame. It doesn't matter, it won't hurt anyone, but that's just bad code. But the options menu can exist in a place where GM hasn't been set up. If the is equal to null, it's not equal to null, if gm.c.dialog canvas.gameObject.activeSelf is equal to true, then return stop. Will that work? I don't mind a bit of spaghetti, but that one where we just turn it off every frame is just kind of unacceptable, because then you might see it briefly, you'd be like, what? I just tried to turn on options menu. I guess that's a good sign. I'm at the point as a programmer where I'm not just trying to make something work, I'm trying to make something work in the right way. That's progress. That's progress. Lovely. Okay, I didn't see the loading screen come on briefly that time. But let's just keep that up and make sure it actually works in game as well. And yeah, we can access it here, because you might want the encyclopedia just to find out more about artifacts. Okay. And so what if we said, and again, I don't know if this is hacky or if this is like probably just the best way to do it. If we said yield return new wait until, let's just copy the wait until, oh no, it's okay, let's draw the sideways Willy with the sideways balls. And we say artifact UI dot panel dot active self. Is panel a game object? Yeah, active self is equal to false, and then it won't happen until after we've closed that panel. But then when do we do that? Yeah, okay. Okay, so that should happen after everything else anyway. Let's pop this right near the bottom after the story. And then here we say field return new, wait until dialog panel, dialog canvas dot game object dot active self is equal to false. So we wait for the story bit to be finished before we open Startifact, and also that happens here. Did I remove the original? Yeah. Okay. And I think that should do it. So what we want is the story to happen first without any other confusing shit happening. Obviously, the first time you play the game, it will yeah, I mean, Jack, so you could probably come into my code and improve it and just like make it cleaner and tidier. But then I wouldn't understand it anymore. I guess that's the problem that every thing has. Okay, so we're loading a wave. And where does that load wave come from? It doesn't say. So load wave. Oh, that happens in a different script. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, it's probably fine. Okay, so we did, but yeah, so we did this. I can't think of any other way to escape from the loading screen, from the dialog panel. So we'll leave that for clever bug finders to find. And then wait till, make dialog wait until, so that didn't happen. Wait, Startifact. Okay. Yeah, of course, because that's... Oh, wait, yeah, so we wouldn't need this. And I guess... I think we can wait 1 second. Let's just go and copy one of these. See how that works, see how it feels. That's much better. We still get that little loading screen after because it's loading a wave. So again, and so that happens in... so again, if we say load wave, Because what that does is it... This is 5. Yeah, this is kind of awkward. Because basically every 5 minutes we just load the next chunk of enemies. But if we say... So it's like actually we don't want to load the wave if it's the first start, if it's the starter fact. So if gm. So this is very spaghetti now. .c .hud .minutes is greater than 1. Do that, otherwise don't. And then gm.c.show upgrades. Why would it do that? Oh, okay, that's just to update the... So that shouldn't say show upgrades. That should say like update upgrades UI. It just makes sure that the artifact goes into the UI at the top left. So yeah, basically we're saying don't... And I'll make that very clear in the code. Where was it? Yeah. Don't load wave, next wave of enemies. But not if it's the starter fact. Okay. And then that shouldn't show the loading screen. That shouldn't give me the quick flash of loading screen. Because yeah, basically it's after you pick your artifact, then it's like, that means 5 minutes has gone by and it's time to load the next wave of enemies, because otherwise the opening loading screen would be too long. Because it creates all the object pooling. Soldier report. Okay, so there he is in the middle. There's our soldier. And he says, soldier report. Prince Randall, the enemy is upon us. Excellent, let's slay some orcs. And then we get our artifact, except that the first time you play you won't be getting that. And then the game starts. And then it would be something like the tutorial would be delivered via the story like that. I don't know if that's wise. And then you would get some upgrades, and at first the only option you would have would be soldier. I would have to make it sure that it's like enough for because basically the first time you play it you won't have unlocked the other characters yet, so you'll only have access to the soldier. And I'm not going to make that as part of the story. That would just be like, look, the first time you play it you won't have that. I need to think about what if that's not the first time you play it. But like, if you've got 3 upgrades, yeah, I just need to make sure there's 3 available. And then it would be like, so you've got soldiers, orcs are coming, might need to increase the frequency of enemies anyway. Oh god, I'm gonna die. Let's get my armor back. So it's like, yeah, you would just have access to soldiers, and then I guess like after a minute it would be like there's too many of them. I mean, for the story one, it's like there's a lot of places that can go wrong, like, because if there are actually too many of them, so like I don't know. I don't need to think about this now. All I wanted to do was just get the dialogue done. But then it would be like a minute passes, and it goes, "My lord, many orcs. The orcs are coming in thick and fast. Like we can't fight them." And then, like we would actually have like a big group of enemies spawn. But what we would probably do is on this first mission, just kind of like make it impossible to die. Just the first time you do it, like, or like actually like make it so that the enemy overwhelms you and you die, and like that would be quite easy to control. Oh, I need to write this down as a sorry, I just realized we should have an upgrade that you can unlock and buy that is like how much health do you get back when you level up. Or like passive health regeneration, hero health regeneration. Oh, go away, pop-ups. So I'm just going into Miro and going into my board here and just putting a note near the top saying, like nice and big, saying add upgrade amount of HP from leveling up, upgrade passive healing for hero, which of course would go in the church. Just ideas, other ways to level up, other things to level up, other things to purchase that'll change. And Rohan will answer, yes. Yes. So I think, so I need to, like this is a separate issue, this is like storytelling. But yeah, I think the best way to do it would be to actually like make you die. Or, which is gonna happen eventually, but especially if we actually like overwhelm the player with a few invincible orcs. Like this first mission is just story, like we're just getting you there. And it would be like after so yeah, there'd be a bit of like tutorial explaining what's happening, like you get your first upgrade, and so instead of having the tutorial thing come up and explain the upgrades, it would be like we need to make our men stronger, you know, something in game, and then you get the upgrade, but you can just upgrade soldier for now, and then we would have like a moment. It would be like, my lord, the enemy has the orcs are coming. Oh, that sounds like a classic RPG start point. Wait, is that? This should be rotated. Why is that not rotated? Effects. Ah, they should be rotated. It's not facing the camera. God, all this time. I mean, it's a very minor issue, but just 45. And 45. Oh wow, that's going to be game changing. Yeah, so then like it would be nice if the camera, like, so after like a minute or something, like, so you learn about leveling up, you learn all that stuff, and it will say upgrade, we must upgrade the soldiers, we must upgrade this, makes, you know, teaches you the game through dialogue, and then it would like pan across to like a big horde of orcs coming, and it'd be like, my lord, the orcs are coming, you know, there's too many of them, and they would come in and basically wipe out your army, and then you would die, except before you get to like 0 health, it would say like, it would be like Beanie, I've changed their name, Janaya. Actually, I need to change that name again because Janaya sounds too much like Jaina, and that's just too on the nose, and it doesn't even sound like an oldie English name. So I need to change Janaya's name. But we've got our dialogue system, and if we need it to do other things, we can program it to do other things. We've got that in. Monday is almost finished. So yeah, it would be like, so this is fun, and then so you would die, your main character would die, and then you would get the little scene where Janaya appears and she says, Randar, you've gone too far afield, like you're gonna get killed, something like that. Let me help, and then a bunch of archers will appear, and then you'll kind of get teleported into the pack of archers, and they'll hopefully be able to shoot down all those orcs. Like, I'll just fudge it so it'll be almost impossible to actually go and get yourself killed again before the archers get them, and then the archers will kill those orcs, and then like something like maybe the orc chief appears with like a bunch of really, really tough orcs, and you already know how strong they are, and then it's like, look, we have to retreat, this one is over, and then you retreat. And then and I shouldn't worry about what happens if you're playing it, like if you go back to that mission with like fully upgraded stuff, with all your stuff unlocked, because then obviously it wouldn't be the same deal, and you could actually potentially win against the horde of orcs. I think I could set it up so that this is like a one-time thing. So if you retry this mission later, you get that first intro point, but it skips the tutorial parts of it, and it skips the bit where you lose, basically. Because you're going to lose anyway. Like, you always lose. That's the thing of a Survivor game. You always lose eventually. Winning is making it to 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, you'll die, and you lose the game, and that's your, that's a victory. The Grim Reaper comes and kills you, or something. And in this case, we've got a giant foot which comes down and squishes you, which I'm going to have to change. But I think probably something more like you lose the ability to heal, and the enemy just gets exponentially stronger until they overwhelm you, which could be fun because you could survive that for a while, but not for long. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll switch back to that. I like the giant foot. But that was when the game was a bit like more sort of bean related, and the idea of a giant's foot was that's like the giant from the beanstalk, and you could eventually kill him, but I'm changing all of that. So, at some point I need to sit down and write what the first scene is, what are the triggers, and then the second scene, we do actually have the story on the Miro board, so I wouldn't mind just reminding myself of it a little bit. A little mind map. Miro is great for design, by the way. They don't pay me. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I'm using the free version, but it's a very good way to just have your design. So yeah, Sean Randar fights the orcs. He was called Sean because Sean Bean, when it was called War Beans. And then basically the win condition is you have to survive, just complete the mission. Right? And then you do another one where it's like, okay, let's do this properly, but first we have to base tutorial, where the game is going to force you to unlock a few other units. Say, look, here's the rangers upgraded for free. Here's the rangers unlocked for free. Here's the you've already unlocked the knights. You need to unlock 3 or 4 more other characters and build up your base a bit. Spend all the money you have in an on rails tutorial before you can then start mission 2, which is basically the same again, but you can choose any human, and it's more of a just fight and survive for as long as you can, and the win condition is surviving for 10 minutes, but of course you can keep playing if you want to. And then we switch perspective to the orcs, where you'll do and you get the whole new base and everything, and now you can just totally decide you can just make your orcs super strong. You don't have to unlock any other units if you don't want to. You've got full freedom to upgrade as you like. As Glutton or Loot Goblin, we've got names for them now, as Pick or Lur. So you have to start off as the low ranking orcs, and then yeah, we see the battle from Orcs POV. Chief is surprised that humans are putting up more of a fight. So it would, again, just a little one, 5 minutes, longer if you want to, and then impressed by the humans. And so then we'll have a little scene like, wow, these humans are stronger. Like they've come with some fire now. Let's fight them. Let's take this seriously. And now you've unlocked all of the orc characters, hero characters, and then it's like the story is that the humans have to build the wall. And this was like you have to like get a certain combo to win the mission, but I think it's fine just to say like survive for a certain amount of time, or like craft the flame of the west, and you'll need to like build up your base. So what it might do is like, ideally, if you've done this, you should have enough money to then like build the ramparts, build the little wall around the town that you're in, and you defend the ramparts, and then you like chase them down, and then you fight, and then you chase them down to like a bridge where the orcs fight you back, and now you play as the orcs against the humans on the bridge. But of course, as you're unlocking these levels, you can then go into free play mode and decide to play as the humans fighting against the orcs on the bridge, however you like, and you can choose what you like. And then we sort of, and then I like, the orcs win that battle, and like humble the humans, and the humans are like, shit, if we're gonna win this, we need to. So I mean, I can modify this. I think we might end up going to the orc camp and being like, oh shit, there's way too many here. We need to tell this story. But what I've done today is I've built the dialogue system. So anytime we need a dialogue to happen, it's very simple. We just write one of these. The other fun ones we could do are like camera pans and stuff like that. But it's kind of high time that I just started actually crafting the things we need. So I like really setting in stone what is the story here. So it's like, and where do I write that down? Like, I don't have very clean like documentation for it, but it's like mission 1. Let's just put this in normal sticky color. Well, it's white's fine. Mission 1, and I'll write the steps. So dialogue at start, tutorial, wave of enemies spawn in that are guaranteed to kill you. Female character, female heroine. Heroine arrives. Let's call her Rania. Arrives with some rangers. Save the day. Chief. Should be chief or just like straight up with pick and lure, like pick and lure. Arrive with an even stronger wave enemies, forcing you to retreat. And then I guess it would be like, could they just like defeat you, and it waits until you're defeated, and then plays a cutscene saying we have to go, we've lost. Yeah, like defeating you and ending the match, and then you get your like end match screen. You survived for like 2 minutes or however long it is, and then we like the next point. You are guided through the base management tutorial. Okay. And then basically we're going to have to do this for the whole game. And write the dialogues and write all these points. And then, yeah, I think we've got like, it would be nice if we could do like a little camera pan, although that's probably not necessary. Just have like enemies come in from all sides, which just spawn like a bunch of waves. And yeah, it's going to be too much for you. And then if you have done this, if you finished this mission, these bits won't happen again. It will just be a mission against Pick or Lur. Let's say Chief. Chief arrives. So we must, and then it's like, yeah, you'll get defeated, and it's like, we must retreat. We must make our men stronger. Retreat to the town of Boogity Boo, whatever it's called. Of Townville. Townshire. And then... yeah, and we'll go through that. But now is not the time. Change Jarnia's name. Any suggestions for Jarnia's name? So like the female character that helps you. I was thinking of calling her Rania. Jarnia, no, if you read Jania, you're either going to say Jania or Janaya. I think Rania. But then does Rania make you think that that's Randar's sister? Because their both names start with Ran. I don't know. Could do with some names. I could like AI up or like Google some name suggestions. Rania works. Lania? Jania. Janaya. How would you pronounce that? I think that's like an awkward one to pronounce. Jania. Let's stick with that. I'm not going to change that now until I come up with something better. So that's Monday done. I think it's only 20 to 4, but I'm not going to start anything new right now. We did what we set out to do today. We could do this. Yeah, a little bit of code that we could do, little fixes, or sound effects, or stages, or glow up visuals, or optimization. Design for demons, I think that's definitely on the later list. Artifacts, again, I need to play the game a bit more and understand it a bit better. That's still artifacts. Let's remove that line. Translate is right for the end, and story and UI glow up. So I think tomorrow I'm going to do the stages. That's kind of one of the more annoying ones that I want to get off the list. But if I have each stage represented, we've got, and yeah, planes, sort out edges, ramparts, and then make the graveyard, make the war camp, make the barrens, which is just the plains but yellow. I don't think we need that actually. Do we have anywhere with barrens on it? I don't think we do. Barrens. Oh yeah, undead versus orcs versus humans. So it's just like a different place to fight. But the barrens is like, that's where the orcs are from. So no, let's not have the barrens, but let's instead have like a different, like the moors, like a different plains. Or we could just go back to the plains. The arena will be like for fun. And we are going to have missions which are like side missions. And also we want to have like map icons. The Demon Palace. Let's skip the moors and let's just assume we're going to use the plains for those bits. Demon Palace. These are all levels that will have to be there. I think actually I should do like map icons. Mission icon. Faction banners. Base sprites. So yeah, I'm gonna go off stream and figure out what I'm gonna do tomorrow. But I think probably the nicest thing, if we're just thinking about like starting a new game, and like what is the first thing you see? You press play, you get to the map. Yeah, like I should draw the map. I just need to mentally prepare for this shit, because okay, map background. and actually make the map our own and get movement sorted on it and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, we're making good progress. Like, we're not too far from the finish line, because the story's not going to take long to do. It's just a matter of like having a good story, which is, you know, subjective anyway. But thank you so much for joining today. Like, we've had really, I think it's probably the best turnout I've had outside of that time when loads of people joined my empty chair stream, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate all the new subscribers I've got today. It's a handful, but it's very nice of me. And I'll be back tomorrow morning to do something. I'll set up the stream tonight. So yeah, again, thanks so much. Have a good evening, especially my regulars, Jack. I think you're my only regular at the moment. I've had others, but yeah, cheers. Thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Nice one. Bye.